there's a Zootropolis movie, another one on the way.
Yes, Zootropolis here, Zootopia everywhere else. It's one of those weird things that they've changed the title over here, and so when you look it up anyway, it comes up as Zootopia.
Why could we not have Zootopia?
I don't know.
That works perfectly well.
Yeah, there was a reason, and I can't remember what it was, because the first film was nearly a decade ago. It's like 9 years ago. If you remember, in the first film, the creator of the first film said that they were inspired by Disney's Robin Hood, with all the key characters are animals. And the first one played out in this like metropolis-like world. So I suppose Zootropolis, which is designed and populated entirely by animals. You had country bunny Judy Hopps, Jennifer Goodwin's voice, who wants to be the first bunny police officer. Idris Elba is the captain. Teams up with Nick Fox, voiced by Patrick Bateman. And I really liked the original. I laughed all the way through. I didn't know anything about it beforehand. I didn't even know about the title change. Very colourful animation, but loads and loads of detail. And I really liked the architectural detail of the environment. But also, it did that thing about, it was a story that appeared to be about one thing, but actually it was about another thing. I mean, it looked like it was a film about kind of, predators and paranoia and fear and everything. But it's this kind of extended message about tolerance and understanding and, hey, everyone, why can't we just get along? And it was, I think it's 2016. So it's that period that it comes out in. So now we have a sequel in which a lot of what you get in the first film is present and correct. So the first film had gags in it that were like winking at the older audience, but not in a way that was in any way sort of cringy. So it's written by Jared Bush, who co-wrote the first film, co-directs with Byron Howard, who co-directed the first film. I think that's right. People who were involved in the first film were involved in the second film. So the bunny and the fox are still partners. They're still being sidelined. They still want to break their own cases and save the city all over again. This time, their efforts take them, well, at one point to a buddy partners counseling session, but more importantly, to a conspiracy at the heart of Zootropolis, a conspiracy which is attempting to demonize snakes and blame them for all the ills of the world, when in fact they are responsible for building the very world that they are claimed to be poisoning. Sounds familiar. Here's a clip.
Stop! Please, you don't have to hurt him.
Hurt him? Snakes never hurt anyone. We aren't the bad guys. They are. And this journal holds the secret that will prove it. I have to prove it. Please. This is our only chance to set things right. And when I do, my family will finally be able to come home.
Oh, no!
Ha! I am here. Hopps and Wilde. Dream team. We got him.
There's a very funny joke, which is that Kyo Kwan voices the character Gary the Snake. He says, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm Gary the Snake." He says, "What's your surname?" He says, "The Snake." That's very good.
Works.
So, as before, you get lots of sprightly animation and slapstick humor. There's lots of cine-literate jokes that are there. What's that phrase? Politics must be dealt with, but should not be dwelt in. And in the case of this, it's cine-literate jokes. You can have them there, but don't make a big sort of wink at the thing. So there's a reference to Babe. There's a That'll Do Pig thing. There's a Silence of the Lambs joke, which is actually very funny. I think there was a Pulp Fiction reference. There's a thing about The Shining in which they suddenly use the dun 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 music. And as before, you've got the kind of, the absurdist animal metaphor, which you can read if you want to as an Orwellian metaphor for things that are happening right now in the human world. I mean, this idea about let's demonize a whole group of people in order to other them and get rid of them. I mean, just remember, we live in a world in which the president of the United States literally called a reporter piggy, and yet none of the sort of porcine characters in this film would ever so enthusiastically shake the hand of somebody who ordered the bone sawing of a journalist. So it's got that thing about, on the one hand, it's a jolly, lively animation. And on the other hand, it's got that message of, little people, why can't we all get on together? and why is it that certain subsectors are being demonized. So it does still have that contemporary edge. I have to say, I don't think it's as good as the first film. I think its narrative gets a little bit confused sometimes. And that said, as before, there's so much to look at. There's so much detail. I mean, it's like there was no part of me that thought, I'm bothered about spending any more time in this world, because I enjoyed being in the world the first time around, and I kind of enjoyed coming back to it the second time around. So it's, once again, its heart is in the right place. Once again, I like the nods because they don't feel too winky. I don't think it's on a par with the original, but the original really surprised me by how much I enjoyed it. But it'll play very, very well to the core audience. And like I said, again, its heart is absolutely solidly in the right place. And I thought it did that thing about telling a story that seems to be about one thing, but is actually about another thing rather well.
That's a long time to wait for a follow-up.
Yeah. I mean, to the point that I had to go back and look at my original review to remind myself of the first film, because it was nearly a decade ago.
So a whole bunch of people who saw that as a child, they're now a legal grown-up, an adult, and they can vote and fight and everything.
But there was sort of spin-off series and things. I mean, it's been existing in other worlds, but it's just in terms of, if you're talking purely in terms of cinema, yeah, Zootropolis, the gap between Zootropolis 1 and Zootropolis 2 is almost as long as the gap between Amarasanti's first feature and Amarasanti's second feature.
Which was how long?
10 years.